If you have to know right now, it is usually fear, not love. This is a hard truth to swallow because modern dating culture tells us the exact opposite. We are taught that true love strikes like lightning. We are told that when you meet the right person, you will just know instantly. You are supposed to stay up all night talking on the first date, move in together after a month, and feel a sense of overwhelming, magnetic certainty. When we feel that frantic, breathless urgency to lock it down, we call it passion. We call it chemistry. But often, if we look at this dynamic through the lens of nervous system regulation, it is not love. It is dysregulation. We are living in an era of urgency culture. Apps have gamified connection, making people feel disposable, which in turn makes us feel desperate to secure a match before they swipe away. But this speed bypasses the necessary biological checkpoints of building trust. When you feel a desperate need to fast forward the relationship, to define the label after 3 dates, or to plan a future with a stranger, your attachment system is likely in a state of panic. You are not running toward a person. You are running away from the anxiety of the unknown. To understand why we mistake speed for connection, we have to look at the difference between intensity and intimacy. These two things are often confused, but they are chemically distinct in the brain. Intensity is driven by dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical of reward, craving, and novelty. It is what you feel when you gamble or when you check your phone for a notification. It is a high-energy, unstable chemical. It gives you that butterflies feeling, which is actually a mild fight-or-flight response. Intensity is fast. It ignites quickly, burns hot, and often burns out just as fast. Intimacy, on the other hand, is driven by oxytocin and serotonin. These are the chemicals of bonding, safety, and stabilization. Unlike dopamine, which spikes instantly, oxytocin builds slowly over time through repeated, safe interactions. It requires vulnerability, consistency, and seeing a person in multiple contexts. Real intimacy is not an explosion. It is a slow-burning fire that keeps you warm. The problem is that for many of us, especially if we have a history of chaotic relationships, the slow burn of oxytocin feels boring. We mistake the lack of anxiety for a lack of chemistry. We think that if we aren't obsessively checking our phones, we must not be in love. This biological mix-up leads to specific behaviors that sabotage healthy connection. One of the most common is what psychologists call trauma dumping on the first few dates. You sit down for coffee with a stranger, and within an hour, you have shared your deepest childhood wounds, your past relationship horrors, and your biggest fears. It feels like you are bonding. You might walk away thinking, "Wow, we went so deep so fast." But this is often a form of false intimacy. Trauma dumping bypasses the natural pacing of trust. You are giving a stranger access to your inner world before they have earned the right to be there. It creates a chemical high because vulnerability releases bonding hormones, but there is no foundation of safety underneath it. It is like building a heavy roof on a house with no walls. Often, we do this unconsciously as a test. We are revealing the worst parts of ourselves early to see if the other person will run away. If they stay, we feel a temporary relief, but we haven't actually built a relationship. We have just shared a trauma bond. Another symptom of urgency is future faking, which can happen even without malicious intent. This is when you or your partner start planning the wedding, naming your future children, or booking vacations together within the first few weeks of knowing each other. It feels romantic. It feels like fate. But in reality, you are falling in love with a fantasy. You cannot possibly love the person in front of you because you do not know them yet. You are loving a projection. You are loving the potential of who they could be. This projection is dangerous because it sets you up for an inevitable crash. The dopamine phase of a relationship, often called the honeymoon phase, has a biological limit. The brain cannot sustain that level of chemical intensity forever. Eventually, reality sets in. The person you projected perfection onto will inevitably do something human. They will be grumpy, or forget to call, or have an annoying habit. When the dopamine wears off and you haven't built the oxytocin foundation, the relationship collapses. You might suddenly feel the ick. You might wonder why you were ever attracted to them, or more painfully, the other person might withdraw. Because the relationship was built on the high of potential rather than the reality of the present, once the high is gone, there is nothing left to hold it together. This leads to a cycle of short, intense relationships, followed by devastating crashes, reinforcing the belief that love is painful and fleeting. So, how do we break this cycle? The antidote to urgency is pacing. Pacing is the deliberate act of slowing down the progression of a relationship to match the level of actual knowledge you have about a person. It feels counterintuitive. It feels like you are holding back. But pacing is actually the most protective thing you can do for your heart and your future. A highly effective safe practice is the 1 to 2 dates a week rule for the first month or two. When you meet someone you really like, the urge is to see them every day. You want to spend the whole weekend in bed. You want to merge lives immediately. Resist this urge. Limit your interactions to once or twice a week. This rule serves a crucial biological function. It gives your nervous system time to come back to baseline between interactions. When you spend 5 days in a row with a new person, you are in a dopamine fog. You lose perspective. You start to neglect your friends, your hobbies, and your work. By seeing them only once or twice a week, you ensure that you are maintaining your own life. You are staying grounded in your reality rather than getting swept away in theirs. It allows you to process the date with a clear head. Did they actually listen to me? Did I feel safe or just excited? This spacing also reveals the other person's attachment style. A secure partner will respect your pace. They will not be threatened if you are busy on a Tuesday. An insecure or controlling partner will try to rush you. They might get angry if you aren't available 24/7. They might accuse you of playing games. This is valuable data. If someone cannot respect a healthy boundary of time early on, they will not respect your emotional boundaries later. The second critical practice is the 90-day probation period. Relationship experts often note that people can hold up a representative mask for about 3 months. For the first 90 days, people are generally on their best behavior. They are showing you their highlight reel. It is usually around the 3-month mark that the mask slips and you start to see how they handle stress, conflict, and disappointment. If you lock down the relationship, move in, get engaged, combine finances, before day 90, you are making a commitment to a stranger. Treat the first 3 months as an observation phase. You are collecting data. You are watching their actions, not just listening to their words. Do their actions match their words consistently over time? Consistency is the only true metric of trust. Anyone can be charming for a week. Very few people can fake consistency for 3 months. This approach requires you to tolerate a certain amount of anxiety. Slowing down means sitting with the unknown. It means you don't get the immediate gratification of the label. You have to self-soothe rather than using the relationship as a pacifier. You might feel a fear that if you don't lock it down, they will meet someone else. You might worry that playing it cool will make them lose interest. Here is the truth you need to hold on to. A healthy connection will not disappear just because you don't suffocate it. If someone loses interest because you wanted to take things at a healthy, sustainable pace, they were not looking for a partner. They were looking for a fix. They were looking for a quick hit of validation, not a real relationship. By going slow, you are filtering out the people who are only capable of intensity, leaving room for the person who is capable of intimacy. Reframing boring is essential in this process. When you start pacing yourself, the relationship will feel less like a roller coaster and more like a gentle drive. It might lack the extreme highs, but it also lacks the devastating lows. You need to teach your nervous system that safety is not boring. Safety is the platform upon which you can build a real life. Urgency demands answers today. It says, I need to know if you love me right now so I can feel okay. Security says, I am okay regardless, and I am willing to take the time to see who you really are. It is a shift from desperate grasping to confident observation. Remember that you are not missing out on anything by waiting. You are ensuring that what you build is real. The house that is built overnight is the first one to fall down in a storm. The house that is built brick by brick, with time for the mortar to dry, is the one that shelters you for a lifetime. Stop trying to fast forward to the happily ever after. The relationship is not the destination. It is the journey of getting to know another human being. And that is a journey that deserves to be taken, one step at a time.